good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I'm one of the hosts on this show, Mr. William D. Morgan. I got two of the finest gentlemen in podcasting with me today. First, here's the head of Wide Network and the NFL Genius. To bring my man Gene in. Gene, what's up? How you doing?
Not great. Introduce Mo. Give me a minute or two. I'm getting this shared out, but
Gotcha.
I got some stuff I got to get off my chest.
I do too, because I am so mad about what's going on in WWE right now. And in the meanwhile, let me roll over to my other gentleman over here. He is Mr. Mo Better. Mo Better, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's good, Will, Gene? Look, doing great. Surprisingly, good football week. It was a great football weekend. On a selfish note, on a personal note, very surprising results. But that's what sports does to you. So, ready to get into it.
Man, I'll go ahead and get, while Gene's doing that, I'll go ahead and get what's off my chest real quick. For those who don't know me, I hate Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre is now your WWE champion over on SmackDown. I hate this. I get it. I understand it. They felt it was time. I can't stand Drew McIntyre though. Mo, what do you think about Drew McIntyre being champ?
Um, what I know for sure is they came to the conclusion it was time for Cody to give up the belt, and I guess they thought that the Drew McIntyre storyline with all the things that's happened to him, his short reign as champion, maybe they thought he was long overdue. Look, Drew's a good heel. We'll see what he can do when he's the man because he might have a long run. I he might have at least up to Mania. So we'll see. I would have thought it would have gone to somebody else, but I'm not mad because Drew can pull it off.
I haven't liked Drew since he first came to WWE. You remember he was supposed to be Vince's prodigy back in the day. You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
liked him since then. Gene, what you think about Drew being a champion, man? I'm hating this.
I think it was absolutely the right move. I think that pulling the title off of Cody at a show overseas, I think is actually makes it not so predictable. I think he'll eventually lose the title at Royal Rumble to Randy Orton. And I
Yeah.
think Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes will be one of the headliners at Elimination Chamber. So I think you'll finally get that Cody Randy build up that you were looking for. But instead of Randy coming for Cody, you're going to see Cody coming for Randy. I think it's very, very, very the smart move. Drew McIntyre is one of the MVPs of that organization. He's one of the better heels. He's great at promos. I don't know how you don't like I understand like you don't like him as the character, but like
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah. Another thing I want to touch with you guys about real quick. I got in an argument with somebody over on Instagram about this. Jade being champion and the fact that she hasn't really defended since she's got it. Well, it looks like that's gonna be over and done with because it looks like right now we may be getting her versus Muscle Mommy over on NXT as she got caught up on SmackDown as Jordan Grace. Mo, what you think about Jordan Grace and her chance of beating Jade?
Not good. Not good. And I don't know if those two in the ring together is even a good setup. Um,
I feel you.
even though Jordan is smaller in stature, they're both power wrestlers. Um, I Jordan has more of a wide range in moves, but sometimes matchups make for great wrestling matches or bad matches. I think that's a bad matchup.
What you think, Gene? You think Jordan Grace can pull that off against Jade?
I think that the WWE needs to figure out their Jade problem really fast.
Yeah.
Um, she can't keep coming out and saying the same sentence. Like it was great the first time I heard it. I can't keep having her still show up in front of somebody and just say I'm Jade Cargill and I'm that bitch.
Right.
Like I just okay, cool. I don't know. I want Jade to work. I'm a big Jade fan. I've been a big Jade fan, but this ain't it. And they're not. They're gonna feed Jordan Grace to her. Jordan Grace, you're talking about the woman who couldn't win the NXT title. and she kept losing in big matches there.
Yep.
0 chance. She needs a mouthpiece bad.
She needs a manager, and it's just a damn shame that we're not in the age of managers right now. But hopefully that changes. You never know. WWE can turn back the clock on that at any time they want to, so we shall see. And Gene, I will turn it over to you, my friend.
Thank you. So great wild card weekend for football, for the NFL. You had 4 games that were all decided in the final 2 minutes of the game. The Patriots-Chargers really wasn't that great of a football game. No. It was an incredibly defensive matchup on both teams. I got to give the Chargers credit. They played incredible defense. I don't want to be that guy, but this weekend felt like the weekend of quarterbacks who are good quarterbacks, very good quarterbacks, that just can't get over the hump. And when you look at this weekend, and I'll just kind of break it down to you in a nut. 4:00 game, Bryce Young, okay, played well, couldn't get that big drive to get in field goal range to beat the Rams. Bryce Young, check. Second game, Caleb Williams comes back from being down 21-3. Jordan Love has the ball in his hand. He played great. I don't want to hear Jordan Love slander, but doesn't get the job done when the job needs to get done. 1:00 game, and we'll go through each one of these games. 1:00 game, you have a situation where you have Trevor Lawrence, who had a great year. He played a very good football game. Couldn't get the job done and I don't want to hear it went off the receiver's hands. That was a contested passes, and contested passes have every opportunity to get tipped in the air. Tre'Davious White deserves multiple game balls for the way he played in that game. Trevor Lawrence couldn't get them in field goal range and win the football game. Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl last year. I'm not going to down on him for not winning, but Brock Purdy came through when it mattered for this football team. So you look at these, and Justin Herbert again, and I was the one that bought in stock on him this year. I've said for years, and I changed my mind. I'm trying to be a new Gene, a happier Gene. I said for years, Justin Herbert has not won in the playoffs. And this year, I'm like, you know what? They're going to win the division. And I picked them as my dark horse team to make the Super Bowl. And I was proven wrong again. Okay, guess what? The Herbertites, this is where it is already. It's the O-line.
You say Herbertites?
The Herbertites. I'm just basically making it. You're going to hear it over and over again. Offensive line. Granted, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt being out does not help. Those are two of the best tackles in football.
Yep.
But you can't score 3 points in a playoff game, no matter who your offensive line is, no matter who you're going against. They weren't going against 5 Bears.
He was getting crushed.
A good Patriots team, not a great one. So before we get into game by game, I need to get off my chest a little 5-minute rant, and then we can continue going game by game. But I need to get this off my chest. So I apologize in advance, Will, Mo. Thank you guys for coming to the ceremony, but I need to get this off my chest.
Do your thing.
None of your business.
The Philadelphia Eagles played against, and this is no disrespect to the 49ers, the worst team remaining in the playoffs. And it's not that they're the worst team. They're the worst team now. Fred Warner's out. George Kittle got hurt in the first quarter. CMC is playing extremely hurt. They're missing their wide receiver 1 and Ricky Pearsall. Could be their wide receiver 2 now with Juwan Jennings, but they're missing their second best defensive player, and Nick Bosa has been out the entire season. Yes. The 49ers are 100% going to go into Seattle and get absolutely shelled next week. because they're a shell of a football team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed up yesterday in the link yesterday and outworked, out-hustled, but more importantly, they showed you why coaching matters in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan schemed a couple plays. By the way, the touchdown in the beginning of the game was genius scheming. I thought Quinyon Mitchell just got burnt. That was not what happened. The window dressing of the fake pitch to CMC held Quinyon Mitchell to the middle of the field, which allowed that post. Incredible scheme work by Kyle Shanahan. Robert Saleh recognized very quick what the Eagles were doing. And look, versus Philadelphia Eagles, you cannot send cover zero blitzes all day because they'll burn you, but you can send them designed the way Robert Saleh did. He sent run blitzes and he played bend but don't break defense the entire game. Wait for them to make a mistake. Wait for a holding call. Wait for them to run into one of their offensive linemen. Wait for them to slip. Wait for Jalen to throw a bad ball. Wait for them to get behind the sticks. Robert Saleh, absolutely embarrassed. Embarrassed Kevin Patullo. The Philadelphia Eagles as a whole are one of the worst coached offenses I have ever watched on a football field. You have a top 5, top 10 offensive line, a top 5, top 10 running back, a top 5, top 10 receiving core, a quarterback that's finished in MVP races multiple times, second, okay, Super Bowl MVP quarterback, and you don't know how to scheme players open. I know Nick Sirianni's not a play caller. That's part of the reason why I don't destroy him the way he probably deserves. He's a John Harbaugh type coach where he's the CEO. He needs an offensive coordinator. He needs a defensive coordinator. But that gets me to what pissed me off the most. The Eagles' offense is awful, and Kevin Patullo needs to be fired immediately. They ran the same play on 3rd and 11 and 4th and 11 versus the same defense and expected a different result. They ran 4 verts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anybody that's ever played Madden knows that cover 4 is the defense for 4 verts.
Yep.
The 49ers just played cover 4 on 3rd and 10 and 4th and 10. They just ran cover 4. That's all they ran. And when you run cover 4 at the 20-yard line, there's no space to space out between the 8 guys that are dropping on defense. 49ers dropped 7 on that play. They rushed 4. Dropped 7 in the coverage. 3 underneath and 4 safeties breaking on the football. Jalen Hurts ended up throwing the ball in the triple coverage, but the truth is, I don't know where he could have thrown the ball. Watch the all-22 on it from the bird's eye view, and there's nowhere to go with that football. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing. That offensive scheme and play calling is awful. Now, the players aren't of no blame. And the player, to me, that deserves the most blame is the guy that wants the ball all the time. 3 catches, 25 yards in the first quarter. Anybody want to take a guess on how many targets Mr. A.J. Brown had yesterday? Anybody out there want to take a guess on how many times they threw the ball to A.J. Brown? 7. He didn't catch a ball after the first quarter. They threw him a go route. He didn't dive for the football. They threw him another go route when he came in the game. He didn't dive for the football. Off his fingertips. They throw him a pass over the middle of the field on 3rd and 10, and he dropped it right off his hands. Nick Sirianni's yelling, get off the field. I don't want to use a timeout. Get off the field. He goes over and wants to fight with the coach. I need him off this team. I don't care what the dead salary cap is. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what you have to trade to get rid of him. I need him gone. I need an offseason that says I'm going to invest depth into my offensive line. I'm going to re-sign a couple defensive players. I'm going to give Vic Fangio a raise. And I need to get rid of Kevin Patullo and A.J. Brown. It has to be done. I don't care who else has to come on this team. If we play with Smitty as the number 1 wide receiver, I would live with that. I cannot support this bullshit. And by the way, Mr. Crybaby Brown, after dropping the ball on a huge 3rd down, after not laying out for 2 huge passes, gives a hug to only certain teammates and leaves the arena without speaking to the media. Orion Kirkering is like 21 years old. You don't know who Orion Kirkering is. He's a kid from the Phillies that threw the ball into the first base stands to lose the Phillies the game, or threw the ball above the catcher into the stands to lose the Phillies the playoff game. At 21 years old, this kid went and faced the music and talked to the media and said, I'll answer your questions. I'm the guy that, I made a mistake. I'm going to live with this whole offseason. Orion Kirkering was more accountable for his actions. A.J. Brown is nothing but a schmug, selfish scumbag. I cannot wait so that guy is off my team. Because he's worse than T.O. At least T.O. would have caught the fucking ball. He is a team obliterator. He is terrible for culture and the overall team morale. Kevin Patullo sucks. He's our biggest problem. But when you have a cancer on your football team named A.J. Brown, that cancer will continue to spread. And it shows you everything when A.J. Brown goes and hugs certain teammates, says goodbye and leaves. I cannot stand him. I want him gone. I can't deal with this another year. It's crazy. After the Eagles lose in a postseason game, I normally take 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a week to get over it. I'm telling you right now, I was over it within an hour. Does the Super Bowl last year help a little bit? Absolutely. But watching this Eagles team was so heartbreaking, was so gut-wrenching, was so tough to watch. It's miserable. It was a miserable experience. If the Eagles would have scored a touchdown to win that football game, I would have had a miserable experience watching my favorite team play football yesterday, because that's how awful they are. I'm going to address the comments and then we'll get back to the show. These guys gets 10 targets. Top 5 tight end this year, sure. I know Nick isn't the play caller, but at what point, if any, is it on him? Or is the fact that he isn't a play call always going to fall on his coordinators and not him? So when you win a Super Bowl in the NFL, you buy yourself a little bit of cachet. And with Nick Sirianni, I'm not saying it's not on him, because I think it is on him. He is the one that promoted his buddy, Kevin Patullo, to offensive coordinator. And when you promote Like, if you did an interview process and really came to the conclusion that Kevin Patullo was going to be the guy, then yeah, man, that's on him. But when you promote from within, this is the second time this Eagles organization has promoted from within an offensive coordinator, one of them being Brian Johnson, and that was an absolute train wreck. And they almost fired Nick for that. The second one being Kevin Patullo. So if he doesn't want to fire his offensive coordinator, he might get fired this week. No, we can't trade AJ for Jetta. There's no way that Minnesota would do that. AJ has always been a diva. I agree with you, Tiffany. AJ Brown is a baby. The Titans were happy to unload him. By the way, I want to address this. I hope Jory's listening. Jory, I've seen the picture you posted yesterday in the chat that you said aged like milk, where he said to Kevin Byard, we do winning here. It didn't age like milk. They won a Super Bowl. But AJ Brown saying it is the part where that's an issue. He's not a winning player. The organization went despite him. The Eagles had to choose between, I would take Matt Nagy, no doubt in my mind, between Kevin Patullo and Matt Nagy. Watching that offense another week was not happening for me. Patullo play calling, Nick's job, just shut it down. Week 5 or 6 clearly wasn't working. That's on Nick. I agree. And then alligator arms. So, guys, I ran it for a little bit more than 5 minutes. I apologize.
You good, bro?
Off my chest.
You good, bro? Do your thing.
Your reaction to yesterday's game, Mo, being a 49ers fan, I want to be as clear as I can be. That 49ers team had more balls, more toughness, and a better coaching plan than the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. I don't want to take anything away from them. But you would have to be blind to think that that team, as currently constructed, is healthy enough to make a postseason run. And I know you're not, but I want to be clear to the 49ers fans that are all blowing me up, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. But it'll be very short-lived. Mo, your thoughts on the 49ers and the game as a whole?
We talked about this on Thursday's show. I came into the game wanting the Niners to win, but I picked the Eagles. The Niners limped into the postseason. You already mentioned the litany of injuries. And I said the only way the Niners could win this football game is if the Eagles helped them win the football game. Well, I thought the Eagles' offensive coordinator helped them win the football game. I thought Robert Saleh clearly outcoached Patullo. Robert Saleh did something that I didn't think that the Eagles would allow him to do, was just to kind of muck up the game and junk it up. The Niners defense wasn't dominant. It wasn't like Hurts was under great duress. We're last in the NFL in sacks. We don't have a pass rush. But I thought that Saleh doing something he's not known for, which is blitz, but they were timely, well-disguised blitz, did throw Hurts off, did throw his rhythm out of whack. I'm going to give the Niners credit for a stunning upset that I didn't see coming. I'm excited for them, but as the game ended, I'm sitting there, I'm happy, surprised, and then I know we got to go to Seattle. I'm not down on my football team. I'm always going to root for my football team. The Seattle Seahawks are the better football team right now. Clearly because they're healthier on both sides of the football, they're the better football team. If that game is a close game, nobody will be more stunned than me.
Mo, the funny thing is, you look at the 49ers team, they have an all-pro team that's on IR.
Yep.
Nick Bosa,
Yep.
George Kittle,
Yep.
Fred Warner. Those guys are incredible football players, and they're not playing. And by the way, CMC played a hell of a football game yesterday. You can see how injured he is. You can see how broken down he is. 15 carries for 48 yards, a passing touchdown, good for him. Receiving touchdown on a great design trick play because it felt like they couldn't move the ball versus Philadelphia at all. And they run a trick play that worked out perfectly. And I didn't even get to the kicking situation. Jake Elliott's got to go. Got to go. I know it was windy, but got to release. Move on.
Yeah.
Will, your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Definitely a great coaching job from the 49ers, and a great job, and I keep saying this about the 49ers, great job of that old phrase, next man up. They did what they had to do to win the football game. It wasn't pretty, but they did what they had to do to win the football game. I'm very impressed by what they did on both sides of the ball, just enough to get the win. But I agree with you. I think when you go to Seattle and play that defense at home and you're not 100% healthy, I think your run's done. But good job for them to get to that point. They've been playing her all season with these injuries and being successful. Great coaching job. But at some point, your run ends, and I think this is it.
I love this comment. Eagles head coach needed to get fired. He's a dickhead. I don't know if they'll fire. And by the way, CJ Snyder said, what about the obvious no call PI at the goal line? CJ, here's the thing, right? I watched that football game and I knew what I was getting in for. We can talk about the obvious no call on PI that on the goal line against Jahan Dotson, the one he's referring to.
Yep.
We also have to talk about the fact that we hit Brock Purdy in the head, which should have been a face mask on a third down. The fact that the 49ers only got called for one penalty in that football game when they held around the corner is not why the Eagles lost the football game. Was the officiating a little bit, I don't know, not great? Sure. But it's never great. And you shouldn't need officials to change the outcome of that football game. If you can't look in the mirror and say the Eagles did not play well in that football game, that's why they lost. Yeah, if it was called 50-50 right down the middle and both teams had 4 penalties, sure, you can make an argument the Eagles might have won the game. That doesn't fix the internal issues that are going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to play this game of we lost because the officials when our offensive coordinator is a moron. Our wide receiver 1 is dropping passes he needs to catch. And he's yelling at our head coach on the sidelines. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys are language readers, but he called the coach a bitch. Just to be clear.
And I think it was funny, too, when you look at the play-by-play, he actually said these two have a very good relationship. Really?
They do. They do.
Really?
Actually, Nick Sirianni has been like A.J. Brown's lawyer in that organization. He's one stuck up for him. And A.J. Brown, whenever he criticizes the Eagles, he always brings up the fact that Nick's always had his back and he loves Nick. So I think they do have a good relationship, but I feel like A.J. Brown is a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's not a full Eagle show, so I apologize. I just needed to get on and get that out. I'm going to get back to the rest of the games over the weekend, which they were great games and they deserve coverage also. But I really wanted to kind of get that off my chest. And once again, I don't disagree with you. But when you win the Super Bowl, you buy a little cachet. If I'm Howie Roseman, though, I'll tell you something right now. I'm not letting Nick promote from within it ever again. That's not going to happen.
And how many coaches have you known of to get tons of mileage off one championship, i.e. Doc Rivers, i.e. Sean Payton?
When you
These
say
guys
tons
have
of mileage, he won the Super Bowl last year.
tons of mileage. But there's coaches out there who have won and got tons of mileage off of that. They never criticized, never looked at, never being on a hot seat because they got that one championship. That one.
I mean that's fair, Will, because in the case of Sean Payton, though, even though he got that one championship, Sean Payton is recognized as one of the great play callers. Look, Nick Sirianni just won the Super Bowl, so I think what he bought himself grace. I don't think he's in danger of getting fired, unless he's rigid when they say you got to get rid of your buddy, he might get
Then,
fired.
yeah.
But other than that, I don't think he's in
Yeah.
danger of getting fired.
I mean, that's why they fired Doug 2.5 years off of after winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He would not fire his offense coordinator. He's like, I won a Super Bowl. I'm keeping my offense coordinator. So Howie and Jeffrey go, well, you got to go then. We'll find somebody else. And they won our Super Bowl with Nick Sirianni. The Philadelphia Eagles want to run their organization from the GM down. Some organizations, when you have these high-profile coaches, they want to make all the decisions in the kitchen. I don't think Nick Sirianni or Doug Peterson hold the credence to do that. In fact, when it's all said and done, when we look back on this in 50 years, Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson could potentially be the two worst coaches ever to win Super Bowls. You got to really think about that. Like, think about the Super Bowls that have been won around Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni. Just go through them. Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Bill Belichick. Like, they're the last 3 Super Bowl winning coaches that aren't named Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni. What? Think about it. But, all right, so let's go to the 4:30 game. A game where I almost called spot on. I said it would be a very close game. I said it'd be high scoring. I said 27-24. It ended up being 34-31. They both got an extra touchdown that I just didn't expect, which is fine. But the Panthers played their asses off against the LA Rams. The Rams have not looked right for 4 straight weeks. And now we're expected to believe they're just going to go into Chicago, which is another beaten and bruised team, and just walk through the Chicago Bears. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen yet. I'll get into that a little bit later, but let's talk about Panthers Rams. Your thoughts on the game? I'll start with Will, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth with Mo.
I still that Rams defense, I don't understand why they're not playing the way they should. I know the Panthers are a young, spirited team, and I get that point, but you should be miles above in terms of your defense and what you can do to stop these guys. And for some reason, they just broke. And you allowed them to hang around, came back, took the lead, and you came back and got the lead that last series. I thought Matthew Stafford played his way out of the MVP race when he lost that last game before last in the regular season, and I think he's still out despite the fact that he did have a that touchdown to win the game. I still think he's out, and it's Drake Mays to lose. So they should have played a lot better than what they did on the defensive side of the ball. They allowed them to hang around. That shows you can't let anybody hang around in the NFL, because they can come back and they can beat you. Jalen Coker played a great game, so shout out to him. But I just thought they let him hang around, and they almost lost because of it.
Yeah, you're right. Started off like the Rams were like a bat out of hell. Touchdown. Yep. They were up 17-3, I think, at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on the Rams-Panthers, Mo?
The game was everything we expected it to be. A lot of people didn't think it would be close, but we thought it would be close. Carolina matches up great with the Rams. They don't fear the Rams. That young Carolina receiving core, they just ate the Rams secondary up. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Rams, who normally have a really good pass rush, I didn't see it that often. They've been very inconsistent down the stretch of the season. I enjoyed the game. I thought Bryce Young showed me something. I know we talked about how he couldn't get it done when it mattered most. But if you're Carolina, to me, you've got something to build on going forward. If you're the Rams, my concern would be with the defense allowing so many points, and the offense, in particular, Matthew Stafford, even though he came up big when it mattered most, you can't turn the football over against good football teams. It's going to get elevated the next round. If the Rams played the way they did versus the Panthers, their season's going to be over.
So this is actually a really good point. If you remember this play, Puka Nacua, like, history is written by the victors. This just gets said all the time. If this ball's caught by the defender, which was right in his hands, and Puka Nacua broke it up, the Panthers win that football game. And we're talking about Matthew Stafford throwing a game-losing interception. History is written by the victors. Puka Nacua was incredible in that football game.
He was.
10 catches,
And he
111 yards.
And he should have had 3 touchdowns yesterday. He missed one. He was overthrown on one. He should have had 3. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stafford hasn't been as good late, and
No.
that's so important. If Stafford doesn't take care of the football, season's over.
I don't like the way they're looking, and I don't think it's going to be such an easy run for them when they go up to Chicago. I think that's going to be a challenge.
I think it is going to be a really good football game, only because I think the Bears offense will be able to move the football as well. I don't really think that the Bears defense they're going to have to do what they've known to do, strip the ball or something like that. But but on talent and what they have, I don't think they can really stop the Rams offense. The only way the Rams lose to the Bears is if the Rams beat themselves.
Let's talk about Rams-Bears. Let's talk about Bears versus Packers. I see Dave Hernandez in the chat. Bear down.
Bear down.
That's their
I know.
Bear down.
it reminds me of that. What is it? Strike the
man.
beam or light the beam? Yeah, I get it.
So this is another game that's just one of those football games. When you watch it, Packers are up 21-3 at halftime. They lost the fourth quarter 25-6.
We need to fire the kicker.
I don't know how Matt LaFleur survived this, but they're talking extension for him. I got to give Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and the Bears credit. That team has been a fourth quarter team all year.
Yep.
And I don't know why it took them 11 weeks into the season to realize that Colston Loveland is a very good tight end.
Right.
But when they start feeding him the football, he had 8 receptions for 137 yards. He's their best pass catcher. Not Roma Dunze, not DJ Moore, not Luther Burden. They have a lot on that offense. But Colston Loveland dominated that football game. The Bears do offer a couple significant challenges for the Rams. I think that I'll get into my pick on that game later in the week when I can analyze it, look at the injury reports. But when you break down how the Packers and Bears looked, it's one of those football games where you see it and, like, if I read you the box score, Jordan Love, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 100 quarterback rating. You would think to yourself, great football game. And I don't think he played bad. 6 points in the fourth quarter. And on the final drive, you have the opportunity, you have the ball in your hands, with an opportunity to win the football game. Did his receivers help him? No. But the game ended with a sack fumble recovered by the Bears after an incomplete pass. After an incomplete pass. So I get it, but we got to be very, very honest with ourselves when we say history is written by the victors. And right now, the Bears won the football game.
Yep.
Forecast in Chicago is 18 degrees, not including the wind chill. Okay. I don't think the Rams are going to have too much of a problem playing outside. Matthew Stafford played in that division for years.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Puka Nacua is from a BYU kid. He's also a bruiser, played in a ton of cold weather football games. I don't think Devontae Adams played in Green Bay.
Right.
So, we can talk about weather
Yep.
all we want.
Yep.
I don't think the weather is going to be that much of a problem for the Rams.
Gene, I wanted to ask you about this comment right here. You agree with that?
I don't know. Tyler Warren looks a lot better. I think he's a better player. I think Loveland is really good. I don't want to compare those two yet. I think they're in different situations.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren with Daniel Jones was clearly the better tight end for the first 11 weeks of the season. And then when Daniel Jones gets hurt, and Loveland starts getting involved in the offense for Chicago,
right.
Loveland looks like the better tight end. But I think they're both great tight ends. Why can't both be great? Why does it have to be a comp in year one? I think they're both great.
Me too.
I think that's a Bears fan that's
for sure
wanting to believe that they made the better pick.
I think
but I think that the Bears did make the better pick. I think Loveland is better for Chicago than Warren would be. And I think Warren is better for Indianapolis and the style of play they want to play than Loveland would be. And if you want the full breakdown, I can do that later. I don't want to get into a Loveland versus Tyler Warren thing, but they're both really good tight ends.
Yep. I agree. Can't go wrong with either one.
Next game, any comments you guys want to give on Bears versus Packers?
You holding McManus accountable for those missed field goals?
Of course. The Packers special teams has been bad all year.
Yep.
It's not just last game. But you can't blame the special teams coach for the field goal kicker missing a field goal. McManus needs to make those kicks. And the crazy thing is we see this all the time. Kickers are great when the moment isn't big, but when the playoffs come and the anxiety is up, they aren't as good. I'm not saying Brandon McManus is that guy. He's a local kid. He went to high school around the corner from me. But didn't make the kick he needs to make.
Yep.
Mo?
I was most impressed with Caleb Williams and the way that he used his legs. There were multiple times that he was under duress and the Packers couldn't get him to the ground. Look, you can scheme all you want on defense, but the quarterback that can make off-time plays with his legs is the worst guy to have to defend with or defend against. And he's probably even scarier because he has the legs and he has exceptional arm talent. So I was just really impressed with him using his legs in timely manners in big situations. Give him all the credit in the world. He was so big in that fourth quarter. Very impressed with Caleb Williams.
Let me ask you guys this. If Michael Parsons played, would that make a difference?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. So I think that Mike Parsons is the difference in that football game.
Mm-hmm. Because
what Mo just talked about, the escapability, it's a lot tougher to do when you have an edge rusher that runs a 4.3 40 coming around the corner. No surprise that the Packers were 1-0. Well, I don't know if Micah played against Chicago. So I think they played him earlier in the season before Micah. Oh, no. They're 1-0 with Micah Parsons there, and then they're 0-2 without him. That's not taking away anything away from the Bears. Every team's injured. The Bears know that more than anybody. Would the Bears have won if the Bears had T.J. Edwards got hurt in the middle of the game?
Yes.
Like, he's their defensive signal caller. Jalen Johnson's been hurt all season. He's one of the best corners in football. We can play the injury game, but like a lot of those guys are missing guys. I got you, bro. Like, goddamn, give me 30 seconds. Let's get into Jacksonville versus Buffalo. One of the best football games that I've watched. I'll say this. I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl on the show previously. They're not winning the Super Bowl. It's not because Josh Allen's not incredible, because he is. You can't win a Super Bowl with smoke and mirrors, and they don't have the receiving core to win the Super Bowl. They just don't. I watched that game, and I'm just like, I don't know how. Like, he's completing passes to Tyrell Shavers, Brandon Cooks, who just got picked up like 3 weeks ago. Like, it's insane to me how Buffalo hung around that football game. I watched that football game, and it was very clear who the better football team was, and the better football team didn't win because Josh Allen's incredible. But I hate saying it that way, but that game was won by Tre'Davious White and Josh Allen. That's it. The only two players that won that football game for Buffalo. Mo, what were your thoughts on Jaguars versus Bills?
That as long as Jacksonville let Buffalo stay attached to them, that it was a close football game, Buffalo's going to win the football game.
100%.
I had all the confidence in the world. If it's going to go back and forth and be close, I trust Josh Allen is going to be able to make the plays when it mattered most. I didn't have a lot of confidence coming in, looking at Sunshine and company. And he played well. He had a good season, but he didn't play well when they need him to play well in the biggest moments of the game. And again, like you said, the victors write history. That's facts. it's tough if you're Jacksonville. They had an amazing season and for it to end the way it did, but it ended the way it did because you're playing against one of the best football players we've ever seen, Josh Allen.
It's crazy because if you take away and that last interception, I've seen a couple people saying that Jacoby Myers has to catch that ball. I don't think that ball needs to be thrown there. I think Trevor Lawrence needs to wait a half a second longer. He has a play down the sideline that might have went for 6. The problem in that football game wasn't Jacoby Myers catching that ball or not. It was Tre'Davious White being incredible at playing defense. I would have avoided him like the plague. I've never seen a corner turn it on that well that I thought was shot. Tre'Davious White, when he came in the league, was one of the best corners in football. And then he got hurt multiple times and looked like he was done. There's a play in that football game that I want all of you guys to remember. It's one of the best plays I've seen a corner make in a cover 3 scheme. And if you don't know what cover 3 is, I know a lot of people out there are listening to the show for almost from an education point, but it's 3 deep safeties, right? Middle quadrant, right quadrant, left quadrant. So the way to attack a cover 3 defense is through the seams of the game. So the seams are basically the edges. When they say the left hash, right hash, you want to attack. You want to basically get the safety to drift one side because he basically has to choose a side and then hit the seam on the other side. Tre'Davious White, who had the outside safety on the right side of the field, broke off his route to break up a seam play and left his receiver wide open because he read the play perfectly and almost made a pick, but broke it up. It was an incredible football play. It was a touchdown. It was perfect design, perfect read, maybe a little late on the throw. He might have, if you threw a little earlier, with a little bit more anticipation. But Tre'Davious White, incredible play. Last play of the football game, Tre'Davious White gets his hand in there to bat the ball up, and it causes the interception. Tre'Davious White deserves a game ball. He was incredible.
I thought Trevor Lawrence kind of panicked and he pushed the ball when he didn't have to. He should have just played to his strengths and what he had done throughout the game. Look, a check down to your back, ATN, he breaks a tackle and gets 11 yards, gets out. Like, you can do a lot of different things. I thought he pressed when he needed to be a little bit calmer and cooler before he took a shot downfield.
Brian Thomas Jr. was breaking open from his route, and man,
it's good to see him healthy.
Sorry,
too,
I don't trust Josh Allen in the playoffs. In my opinion, Bills just had a lucky game against the Jags. Your football analysis always is just spot on. Thank you, man.
But to me, it's good to see Brian Thomas have a good game. He was hurt most of the season, so it's good to see him come back and have a good football game. Talented receiver, I like him a lot. I like LSU.
He was terrible this football game. Will.
I'm just glad to see him come back playing healthy because he was hurt most of the season.
2 catches for 21 yards from you're supposed to be number 1 receiver. Parker Washington's been their number 1 guy. He looked
good too. He looked good too. But I'm just happy to see him come back and play some meaningful football. I know he wasn't the greatest in the world, but I'm just glad to see him come back and play some meaningful football.
All right, next game up, we got to talk Chargers versus Patriots. I'm going to say something right now. Drake May did not play well in this football game. And I think that he's a very good quarterback, and I think that him being home helped a ton. But 17 to 29, 268, 1 touchdown, 1 interception doesn't tell the whole story. He fumbled the ball twice. Luckily, his offensive lineman made one of the greatest. Everyone doesn't realize how insane that play was. Drake May fumbles the ball out of being sacked. There's a guy ready to scoop the ball up and run 60 yards for a touchdown. And an offensive lineman ran over, dove, and fell on the ball. It was incredible. I think Drake May's going to be a lot better. I think the Chargers defense is a lot better than people give it credit for. They were number 5 against the pass. They're number 8 against the run.
Yep.
They played good football. I think the Patriots are going to win their next football game versus whoever wins tonight. But we'll get into that. But as a whole, just my big takeaways from this football game is Justin Herbert cannot be held without sin. This is the third time he's been in the postseason. He is 0-3 in the postseason. And this is the second time in consecutive years where he hasn't scored a touchdown. I understand his line isn't great this year with Alton Slater out. Every team is dealing with injuries.
Yep.
Your thoughts on Justin Herbert, the Patriots, Drake May? Mo, I'll start with you.
I might be the only one that thinks this, but watching that football game, I literally thought that's exactly how Eagles-Niners would play out. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I thought Eagles-Niners would play out. To me, the Chargers are the Niners of the AFC. I felt that way. Like I knew they'd be well coached. I know they try to muck it up. The defense would play well. They did. But I also knew that their offense wouldn't be consistent, wouldn't be able to move the football. And I'm with you. I know it. He's been missing not only his starting left tackles, his backup left tackles. So the offensive line's in shambles. But if you know that, and he does know that, and you got wheels, you got to run. That might have been a football game that Justin Herbert should have came in saying, I might have to run for 60 yards or 70 yards just because of the offensive line deficiencies. I also did the receiving core. Even when they went one-on-ones, they couldn't beat one-on-ones. So I just thought I was impressed with the Patriots defense. I'm with you. The Patriots offense did little to nothing. They you couldn't tell because the Chargers offense was so anemic. But I wasn't impressed with the Patriots offense at all. I think they'll play better next week. But this was a smash mouth defensive football game, and they won.
Yeah, Keenan Allen has seen better days as a whole. Might be time to hang him up, kid. Drop the gloves on the field and walk away. But Jarrett Wilson recovered that May fumble. Is what
that was great play by Jarrett Wilson.
Yeah.
That play, I'm not like people don't realize how insane that was. I'm telling you, there was a Chargers defender waiting to scoop that up, and no one else was there. It's a touchdown. Touchdown saving play. Great play. We got one more game we got to preview. It's tonight, Monday Night Football. And after the games that we've had so far, I really am looking forward to this football game. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to host the Houston Texans. The question is, can Aaron Rodgers' mind and his quick reads be good enough to shut down an incredible Houston Texans defense? DeMeco Ryans is architect one of the best defenses, and they have my favorite player, my favorite non-Eagle, maybe my favorite player in the whole league, and Will Anderson Jr., who's incredible to watch. Derek Stingley Jr. is incredible to watch. That defense is awesome. I think the tail of the tape tonight, I think C.J. Stroud's going to get his a little bit. I think the Texans are going to score 17 points. The question is, do you think the Steelers score 3-10, or do you think they can score more than 17? That's how this game is won tonight. I love the Texans defense. I think they win the football game. I think it's an ugly game. As long as Stroud doesn't turn the football over, I think that'll be enough. But there is a sentiment that believes that if anybody can dissect the DeMeco Ryans defense, it's one of the most knowledgeable quarterbacks we've ever watched in Aaron Rodgers. Will, your thoughts on tonight's game? Who do you like, and how do you see it going?
I got the Texans in a close one. I think that defense is just too hellacious. You can try to mitigate that with quick reads, but the problem to me is, even though you got DK Metcalf coming back, Stingley can really challenge him and make it tough for him. Then those linebackers are so good in coverage. So I got the Texans in a close one. And it's going to be one of those old school Baltimore Ravens scores. It's going to be something like 17-14.
If 67 points is scored in this game, Damian, I will Venmo you $100. You don't need to put up anything. If 67 points
Ain't
are
no
scored
way.
in this football game, I will.
Ain't no way. Because Pittsburgh's got a hell of a defense, too. Ain't no way.
66.
Ain't no way. 867? Ain't no way.
That's wild. That's wild.
Hey, Gene, put me in for 50 if that happens. Put me in for 50. I'll send 50.
I think the Texans win a close football game. You said it, Gene. If Aaron Rodgers can work the seams, look, if Aaron Rodgers can work the seams with his quick release in his mind, that's how you slow down a pass rush. You don't slow him down with throwing 40-yard strikes. It's 8 yards, 7 yards, a quick slant. Like if he can do that, it does slow down the pass rush. For the Steelers to win, Aaron Rodgers would have to game manage the football game the way Patrick Mahomes game managed the football game a couple of years ago against the Ravens.
Yep.
He needs to play that kind of football game where he's both offense and he's helping the defense. I favor the Texans, but if the Texans were going to make this interesting, it would be because of something their offense does wrong.
Completely agree with you. I think that if the offense plays intelligent football, I don't think they can lose this football game. But with that being said, I got to give Aaron Rodgers. It's one of those things when you watch a Hall of Famer play football, and listen, I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers guy. I love Tony's comment. If the Steelers score more than 17 points, he's trying ayahuasca. But great comment here, by the way, 20-12 Texans. I think that's very similar to how the game plays out. But it'll be a very interesting football game. I think the chess match is DeMeco Ryans' defense versus Aaron Rodgers' brain. I'm interested to see how that plays out. I'm not worried about DK Metcalf. Derek Stingley Jr. is putting better receivers in a blender.
He's going to handle him.
I'm more worried about the running backs coming out of the backfield to check
the
down
tight ends.
Well.
Yeah.
James Warren,
yeah.
And then you have Jonnu Smith.
Yep.
Those are guys that I'd be looking for. Mr. Pat Freiermuth.
Yep.
That's kind of what I see. I don't think Texans are going to have their way moving the ball against the Steelers, but I think they'll do enough to get 17 points on the board. But it'll be an interesting game. Here's a stat that a lot of people don't know. How many games do you think Mike Tomlin has lost on Monday Night Football at home in his career?
Never
happened.
It's
never happened.
I think it's going to be the first.
That's a stat. Listen, if you're a trends follower, Mike Tomlin has never lost a game on Monday Night Football at home.
I think it's going to be the first.
So
now let me ask y'all this: if he loses this game, is he done?
He shouldn't be. We talk about this all the time, Will. I think that Mike Tomlin gets unfair criticism because he's black. I've never seen a guy that's never had a losing season. Every year we're talking about him being on the hot seat and he doesn't have the ingredients. He's not getting steak. He's not getting lobster.
This is true.
He's getting ramen noodles and Cheez-Its and expecting to make a 5-star meal. You can't do that.
This is true.
I'm sorry to say it that way, but
look, I agree with everything Gene just said. This is a quarterback-driven league, and he's found a way to be successful without a franchise quarterback. They just keep changing quarterbacks, and they don't have the most talent on offense. It's not just a quarterback. They don't have one of the best running backs in football. They don't have one of the best receivers in football. Metcalf is a good receiver, but he's not one of the best receivers in football. And he finds a way to win every year.
That ding is 10 o'clock, and that's our time.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys all for tuning in to Coffee and Sports, the morning show. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Shout out to Carmike and Brittany. Everybody say a prayer that they have a very healthy and happy baby, but they went into labor this morning. So if you're used to seeing Carmike on the morning show, wish him your best wishes to him and Brittany. And let's hope that they have a very healthy, happy, and safe pregnancy.
Congrats, bro.
Congrats to you
bro.
both.
Congrats to you both.
Any final thoughts, Will?
Don't forget to catch me, Seven, and on the rest of the crew on Sports Report tonight. We're going to talk about all these games and a whole lot more tonight right here on Wire to Wire Network. So definitely check us out 10 p.m. Eastern right here on Wire to Wire.
Mo, close us out.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.
And as my final thought, fire